8 years with an amazing package. HondaCars.co.nz. Pleased to be supporting racing. Back to the action with our commentators Brad and Phil, and this is Post Classics. Don't we love these bikes? We sure do.
So 34, Dan Medham on pole position, closest to us here on the concrete side of things on the track. The lights go out, should I say, come on, they'll go out, we'll go racing. Dan gets a bit of a wheelie, but still gets a pretty good start. So too did the 18 through there in from the second row. And as they work their way in and out of turn one, it is the 34 in the front. I'm not too sure if Dennis Charlotte's got through into second place. Yes, he have. As they flash under the pedestrian bridge, we have a quick look at them as they head down into the Foster's turn two. The second fastest part of the circuit here at Hampton Downs. So these guys are absolutely travelling when they bank it in to this 90-degree right-hander.
Yeah, look at them already, just like last time around, those front two guys. And looks like it might be that white bike. So we'll just try and catch an update. Daniel Medham and Dennis Charlotte, two high-quality riders out there doing it in post-classics action.
Well, let's hope this one goes more than a lap. After we had problems on the start line. So far so good. They're working their way through Swampy's Curves, out through Kev's Carousel, the Swampy's Curves. This is the extension to the track. This was the dream of previous owners Tony Roberts and Chris Watson, but of course Tony Quinn put it all together and finished the circuit to an international standard, I'm sure you'll agree. And all of the legends, interesting to note, that have come here for the first time, absolutely rave about the quality here of Hampton Downs. Race leader in and out of the high pool hairpin, heading down into the Dale ITM sweeper at the bottom end of the circuit. And once again, the top two, Brad, have cleared out, and it's the young man from Auckland, Dan Medham, Dennis Charlotte. Tim Barnes got a good start on the Ducati. I think that's him up in fourth place, but we'll have a look as they come just a fraction closer.
Yeah, just listen to the roars. They come back up the hill to our start-finish line here at Hampton Downs, and the 34, Daniel Medham, and then the two of Dennis Charlotte. So the 34, Daniel Medham, the Phil Duxbury GSXR 750, so awesome bike, and just exactly why we love post-classic racing with the two of Dennis Charlotte in second place. Then we go back to Scotty Finlay there on the ZX400. He's in third place as well, so this guy, he's done a lot of riding on that ZX400 over the last few years, and good to see him at the top end of this field with bikes twice the CC and twice the horsepower of him.
Another one that's done quite a few laps around Hampton Downs here for a lot of the Auckland and Waikato-based riders. This is their home track these days. Not often do they get the chance to race on the full international circuits. Normally it's just the national circuit, but it is certainly one of the best circuits in the southern hemisphere. I think it'd be no fear in saying that. Certainly with the elevation changes and the off-camber and on-camber corners. Really is a jewel in the crown of the New Zealand motor racing circuits right around the country. Of course, from here with the NZSBK, we go to Taupo and then Manfield and then Taupo, I should say, for the completion of this national series. Right now, looking for the leaders coming in to the Pirelli Dipper by the look of it.
Yeah, it is the 34, Daniel Medham, just trying to break clear of the number two of Dennis Charlotte. Scotty Finlay looks like he's still there in third place, but the big mover on track is the 58 of Duncan Coots. Actually didn't have the greatest of qualifying sessions, had to start right down the back of the grid, but he's already up into fourth or fifth place there as we see him, and that's a beautiful Yamaha 1200 machine. I think it's an FJ 1200 engine inside a CMR frame, so some great ingenuity there behind Duncan Coots in the post-classics racing.
Yeah, Glenn Conroy just up ahead of him on the, well, they're saying the Harley Davidson. I think Glenn might be a lap down. I think Duncan's through. There's the Scott Finlay bike and there's Duncan Coots. So yeah, the Harley Davidson was in fact a lap down. I thought that was a bit optimistic. They're great bikes, but they're not quite this calibre of these post-classic machines. Let's be honest.
Look at Daniel Medham into Foster's construction, and he's already going through up into Kev's Carousel there. So a dominant race performance there so far from him. And then the two that's, I can't remember, that CRC livery, that's a iconic bit of New Zealand motorcycling there. Look at that on the Macintosh framed Suzuki 1100 in second place. Just absolutely breathtaking, some of these machines that are here, not just on the track racing, but some of those Grand Prix bikes in the Legends Garage, Phil, were just breathtaking, aren't they?
Oh, look, we say it over and over again, don't we? They're absolute museum pieces, and some of them are priceless. You know, you can't put a price on them. They're that rare. there in many occasions. We mentioned the YZM 500 that Simon's riding today, the Kevin McGee ridden bike. Priceless. They're rare. I remember a couple of years ago that bike made its appearance at Timaru for the first time. It's the first time a machine like that had been seen in New Zealand. So you're being treated to something pretty special here, folks, at the Mike Pero Motor Fest. There's no doubt about that. As we watch in the, we're just past half distance in this 4 lap, so it's a sprint for the posties, the Post Classic boys. And Medham is just really hauling the mail.
Yeah, that's white flag out already, so white flag out, 1 to go. Daniel Medham well in charge of this one, has a massive advantage. And just to let the public know that directly after this race, the Superbikes and the Legends are going to wheel their bikes out onto the grid, and then when instructed, the public will be invited out to have a little walk around and sift through the legends of our sport.
And that's something pretty special here at Hampton Downs. We've done it before. We did it here last year with the Motor Fest. We've done it with the Bathurst Legends weekend here at Hampton. It's a chance for you to head down out onto the hallowed turf that is the front straight here at Hampton Downs. You'll get sick of me saying this, but you can't do this sort of stuff at Eden Park. You can't walk out onto the test match ground before the whistle starts for Australia, New Zealand and the rugby. But you can here at Hampton Downs. White flag out for the majority of the field. Just saw the 8 there of Mike Pero on the TZ250 Yamaha flash past. As we wait for our race leader. Just heading up into the dipper, I think, for the last time. Another one of those 2-stroke machines out. You'll see at the Shoei Grand Prix. So just looking for Dan Medham. He's going to make it 2 wins from 2 starts. Okay, the first one was a bit fortuitous with the mechanical issue for Scott Moyer. We should get our spies on that and see if that's a problem that can be fixed. I know that Scott's got a spare bike, but let's hope he can get out before the second race. So there is Dan Medham. Checkered flag comes out and he wins the first post-classic race of the day here at Hampton Downs. Second place, and it's not often you see a distance between first and second, especially when Dennis Charlotte's involved, but or is Dennis Charlotte involved? Have we seen Dennis Charlotte come up here? Is he going to... Yeah, there he is.
There it is, Dennis Charlotte in second place, so 20.8 seconds in a 4-lap race, so that's definitely...
That's night and day for somebody that's got the ability of Dennis Charlotte and certainly the ability of that motorcycle. As we mentioned before, that's a replica of Dr. Roger Freest's Bathurst winning bike in the CRC livery. It's a Ken McIntosh masterpiece, as they say.
You guys finish that race and then we'll do the moto trial stuff.
Yep, okay. So just waiting for the rest of the field to come through here. And that's the first post-classic race of the day out of the way. Next section on the track will be the pit walk. Now, as I mentioned before, the public will be asked if they want to come out onto the pits. We'll have the super bikes out here, we'll have the Legend bikes out here, and I think there'll be the 600s out there as well. And they'll be on display for quite some time. You can meet your heroes up close without their helmets on. You can have a talk to the engineers. All the bikes will be out ready to go. The New Zealand Superbike fields will be there with their tyre warmers on, so everything's up to temperature, shiny and new again when they do their formation lap. But next up, something pretty special here at Hampton Downs. It's the grid walk here at the Mike Pero Motor Fest.
So here we go, we've got some Daniel Medham, Dennis Charlotte, Scotty Finlay, Duncan Coots got up to 4th place, Glenn Conroy in 5th, Jacob Stroud, he got 6th, Nick Allison, Tim Barnes, Johan Henke and Mike Lind. They're our top 10 for our post-classics. And we're going to go over to Neil, and he's got a little bit of interviewing for us.
Thank you indeed. Sorry, a little bit amateurish there to be using a headset without the headset on, as it were, but microphones are in demand. Microphones in demand. No, because I'm going to be using it for an interview microphone. So we're yeah, that's why they're in demand, Phil. They're actually they're hotter than Mike Pero's autograph here today. And speaking about that, you've seen on the back of the program his gallery. I had the privilege of going to his gallery for the first time this year. Oh, it is marvellous. It is marvellous. That is heaven, folks. You've got to make an excuse to go. And in fact, Brad and I had taken an early flight to go to Ruapuna for round number 1. one, and on the day we took an opportunity to go to the gallery. I loved it to bits. It is my kind of motorcycling, and for anybody that's had anything to do with the sport of years gone by, you will love it as well. Some fabulous bikes. Hey, Motul Trials time, and delighted to be talking here with John Ravenscroft. I've had the privilege of knowing John for more than a year or two, John, and first of all, welcome back to Moto Trials. Wouldn't be the same without you down there. But tell us about sort of coming out of the creeks and out of the forest and out of playing over logs and other obstacles that nature provides to a bit of a man-made course. And tell us about what's going on.
Well, yeah, well, it's first of all, Jim, a headset without a head is a set.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what they call it. Even the so, coming out of the woodwork and out into the open in front of the public, yeah, it's a bit of a embarrassing thing. We're not really used to all this spotlight, but it's great being out there, having the people supporting and yelling at the boys and saying "good ride," or "rubbish ride," or whatever. Great news, yes.
All right, so earth-moving tyres and pallets in containers, they can do everything, can't they?
Yes, pushed to it. They were certainly pushed to the limit this time. They're taking marks off the guys. We had a few tumbles.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, the poor old Jules Hugenin had a big fall this morning, smashed himself up. But got on his bike and got up and away he went again. So you've got to hand it to these guys. Be me, I'd be packing up going home. But no, up and away they go.
All right, John, you're having the privilege of watching our sport at the moment. What's our talent looking like of our